Good morning. Happy Monday. Hope you're all doing well. I'm excited for the start of a new week. I always am. It's it's like a blessing every single morning to open up your eyes, and we get to experience a whole new week here today. So it's awesome. So let's just get started. So today we're going to talk about 8 tips for having difficult conversations with your partner. Yep, we're starting the week off strong. I didn't really have any difficult conversations with Dom this weekend, but I saw a post from Lisa Ballou, I think is how you say her name. She and her husband Tom started Quest Nutrition, which, I mean, some of their bars I really like. That's really all I've ever had, so I can't really say much to their products themselves. However, I do like the two of them. They have a lot of energy, and they definitely, they started with a nutrition thing, and then they expanded kind of into like this personal development realm, and now they're speakers, and she posts a lot of women empowerment stuff and a lot of like helpful personal development type stuff as well. So they're super motivated, highly inspirational, so I highly recommend you check them out. Their last name is Billyu. So it's Lisa and Tom. All right, so this comes from her. So let me just start out by saying I'm not amazing, right, at having difficult conversations all the time. Difficult conversations are difficult, right? So the 8 tips that I have for you today, I've been working through these things, and I think Dom has too. So we fight way less now than we used to, you guys. I'm sure my friends and family can attest to how many fights we used to get in, and now we don't fight that much anymore. We do have more difficult conversations together than we used to in the past, and it seems like they're done with much greater ease, with fewer emotions involved. Like, we're just trying to get through things. So we're just trying to work together, really, and move forward, which is awesome. So without further ado, my 8 tips. So the first one, I'm not going to say the swear word, but give 0 Fs about being right. You don't need to be right all the time. There's that saying, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? It's a good question. Choose happiness every single time. I think our need to be right is deeply embedded in us and in our society. So I think of remembering way back in 2nd grade, you had to take a test. You got an A. Yay, what happened, right? You were praised. It got put on the fridge. You got, a treat or something, right? The teacher was all happy for you. Everything was hunky-dory because you did well. You passed the test. You answered all the questions right. Let's say you get an F on that test. What happened to you? Yeah, you got reprimanded. You got yelled at. Your paper certainly did not go on the fridge, right? So failing was bad, and winning and being right was good. So that's embedded in us, you guys, I think, from a very, very early age, and it's hard to break. So let's see here. In an argument with your significant other, why are you right? Why isn't their perspective also right? Just a question. They're allowed to have their own thoughts, their own opinions, their own feelings, just like you are. They shouldn't have to do anything your way. Maybe show a little grace, right? A little love and compassion for the person that you love the most in this world. Yeah, so give 0 Fs about being right. That'll help. All right, number 7, avoid the blame game. Well, you did this, and you did this, and you did this, right? We just get into this rabbit hole of blaming that other person for the things that they've done in the past that probably have nothing to do with the current situation, by the way. And it gets you absolutely nowhere. It causes hurt feelings. It intensifies the situation. People screw up. And it's usually not that big a deal in the whole scheme of things. I think that's something that I've been looking at lately is, like, does this actually matter? Nope. Like, let it go. There's no sense in getting all uptight about something that actually doesn't matter. With everything going on in the world, this stuff is so piddly, it doesn't matter, right? So you don't need to get in a fight with your significant other about just some little crap. Anyway, I think if you're feeling hurt and upset about something that happened 8 months ago and you're still wanting to yell at your partner for it, first, you need to work through that stuff in your head. Start journaling, write it out, ask yourself a few random questions about the situation, and just figure that piece out. You shouldn't be so mad about something that happened 8 months ago that you want to swing it, throw it into the love of your life's face. Like, that's not okay. I think also that if that is the case, that where you're that riled up about it and you've worked through it and you still want to talk to them about it, great. Have a difficult conversation with them about it, but don't use it as blame. Don't start, pulling that out of the archives and yelling at them about it. Okay. Number 6, move on. Be candidly honest. So this doesn't mean to be brutal and mean and give some low blows, but it means to just be honest. If you guys have ever seen The Office, when Jim and Pam aren't doing the best, like in some of the later seasons, and they're like, well, to speak my truth, Jim. And they say that, it's so corny, but it's a big thing, right? Like, you need to speak your truth. You need to be honest, right? But again, don't be mean. So just be honest. Okay, number 5 in our 8 tips for having difficult conversations with your partner list is show you have understood their perspective. Everybody need to feel heard. They need to feel understood, right? That's, I think, one of the biggest things that we need in life. And everyone's feelings and everyone's point of view, they matter. They do. Everybody is entitled to feelings of their own. So one thing that Lisa brought up is an argument called steelman. So steelman their argument. And I never heard that term before, so I felt like I should share that with you also. So put simply, it's building the best form of the other side's argument and then engaging with it. So you kind of help the other person build their argument up and help them kind of figure out their feelings, figure out what they're going through. And then that can reciprocate and help you in the long run also, because then they're going to be more willing to help you and figure out, they're going to understand you even better as well. So it's like but you have to start that piece. It's not just going to magically happen. So it's called steelmanning their argument. So it's being charitable and patching up the weaknesses in the other side's proposition so that they can bring the best counter argument to your point of view. So it helps you both grow. So really, just if we break it down, boil it down to the simplest terms, you need to listen and understand where somebody else is coming from. That's one of the biggest. I know in the past when I've had difficult relationships with people, some people just aren't the easiest to get along with, and that's okay. And sometimes I'm not the easiest to get along with. And I think if you do this one technique, you'll get along with them better. And that's just to figure out where they're coming from. So kind of step back, the person, what's happening in their life. Is this normal behavior or is this abnormal behavior? If it's abnormal behavior, okay, what events are going on that's leading them to act like this? And remember, it's not about you. It's always about the other person when they're being an icky person, right? It usually has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with the other person. So I think the more you can understand where a person's coming from and their perspective, the easier it is to get along with them because you know how then to react to them. Okay? And yes, hi April. I absolutely agree. Absolutely. This is not only for your partner, but this can help in any relationship. You're totally right. Yep. Family, friends, coworkers. Good morning, DJ. Good morning, Liz. All right. Number 4 is to listen more than you talk. That's a hard one for a lot of us. We want to babble and get our point across and blah, blah, word vomit on the other person to show that we're right. But if you just shut up and sit back and listen, it, for one, makes the conversation easier, right? If you don't have to come from that place of being right, maybe you don't have a lot to say, and that's okay. There is let's see, his name is Richard Branson, and I never know who said this, but I've heard this quote for years and years, and I looked it up, and it's Richard Branson, and he says, listen more than you talk. Nobody learned anything by hearing themselves speak. Yep. Isn't that crazy? So how can you possibly learn and change and grow when all you hear is yourself? You can't, right? So to go back to number 8, again, when we stop trying to be right, we listen more. Number 3, moving on up. Give it your full attention. Put the frickin' phone down, right? Maybe say, children, go play. We have to have a conversation, what have you. You deserve their fullest attention, and they deserve yours during any conversation, really, to be honest. But I mean, if you're just going to do it from time to time, make it during a difficult conversation so you guys can really connect and you can really understand and move forward. Okay. Number 2, pretty simple, is to know your end goal. Like, what is the point of the difficult conversation you're about to have? Why is it so difficult? Like, is it, I want to move? Okay, that's a big conversation to have with a partner, right? Like, that affects them also. So why do you want to move? What's the, like, put your ducks in a row, know your facts, know what you need to know. But really, some people come into difficult conversation and arguments and they don't know like what they're trying to do. Like, what are you trying to accomplish? So when you go into these things, I think that's one of the biggest first things you do is figure out before you even have the conversation what your end goal is. I'm drinking just cinnamon tea today and it is delightful. Okay. And the first one, number 1 on our 8 tips for having difficult conversations with your partner is to do it when you are emotionally sober. So I heard that term and I was like, okay, I think I know what it means, but I'm going to look it up just to make sure. And it makes a hell of a lot of sense, you guys. Don't go into these hard things like all over the place. So basically, are you in a place where you can feel all the feelings, right? Where you're not numbing. So if you are, I would say, if you're numbing your pain and you're numbing everything a lot, that can be through food, that could be through drugs, that could be through alcohol, whatever it may be. That could be through your phone, like you're just paying attention to your phone and that's it for 5 hours, right? You're numbing things. So are you in a place where you're emotionally able to feel all of your feelings? Because that is important. Or have you been avoiding them lately? If you're currently able to feel things, and this doesn't have to be like an all or nothing like thing, but if you're able to process emotions and feel your feelings, then like if you're not able to do that, then you're not able to have a difficult conversation. Because all that's going to come out is emotion. You're going to fight. It's just not, it won't lead to anything good. So really, we want to take the emotion out of the difficult conversation. So I said, what are the facts? What are the steel, the pillars? What are the beams that you're working off of? Right? We can't bring emotion into hard conversations or it just turns into a cluster. It just doesn't, you don't get anywhere. I think a lot of people, when I talk about like avoiding your feelings and numbing, that really comes from reading things like Quit Lit. If you've ever read anything about like quitting alcohol or quitting drugs or anything like that, there's a lot of stuff about like separating the emotion. So I think if people have gone through that, they kind of better understand that concept versus those who haven't. But it is very simple. We know if we take the emotion out of something that we're gonna be able to have a better, fuller conversation. So those are my 8 tips for having difficult conversations with your partner, as well, April, as your family, friends, coworkers. Yeah, just in general, right? Well, thank you guys for being here. Happy Monday. So what I just said obviously has nothing really to do with nutrition or a healthy, active lifestyle necessarily. But these are things that come up, right? And had I not gone through the nutrition part and through all the other stuff in my life, I wouldn't be able to handle stuff like this. So these are kind of the bonus rewards, right, that you get when you start changing your life and when you start changing your thoughts. So it's amazing how far you can actually go. Good morning, Holly. Welcome. So anyway, to get started, you guys, with me, head to rootdownwellbeing.com and let's start at the beginning with your nutrition. That's where it all begins. So have a fantastic Monday, a fantastic day. Love you all. Thank you for joining. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8. Okay, bye.